make a very good point about the submarine, that why would you use a submarine to carry back oil? The reason that they would use that is that they're desperate to bring back the oil. There's nothing else they can use besides the one submarine in the entire world that they can rent that's made of less than 10% parts or designs made in the US. The reason it costs so much to rent it is because it's a piece of junk. Let's see. Yeah, it's the only one of its kind in the world, actually. So that does say why they have to use it, and that does say how desperate they are to get the oil out of the Cuban Gulf. So if they manage to find oil and get it, the entire world gets rich, and the U.S. is stuck behind with our already increasing deficit. Cuba blames the U.S. embargo for all of its problems. Yes, it does. It's said that they've lost approximately $1 trillion in just overall lost travels, lost trade, since the 50 years that it's been put in place. And that's a conservative estimate as well. Whereas if it weren't for the Cuban embargo, let's say you guys said, how much was it fine for each person that's caught with contraband?
55,000.
55,000? Well, we spend approximately 1.2 billion a year trying to keep the embargo in place. Actually, some people in the Chamber of Commerce have estimated 3.6 billion as a more, well, it's not conservative, it's a little bit more liberal amounts, whereas gross domestic product in Cuba has gone up 3.1% in 2012 alone. So if you couple the fines versus if we were to lift the embargo, we'd lose the amount of money that we spend every single year trying to keep it in place, and the 40,000 private entrepreneurs that have risen since President Raul Castro has gone in place, 40,000 private business owners, plus the loss of $3.6 billion a year on keeping the embargo, is far more than any reasonable number of people that you would ever catch sneaking into the U.S. with contraband, because not many people would sneak into the U.S. from Cuba anyway with the Cuban embargo in place. Also, my opponent stated that we had no evidence, or showed that we never showed what they caught, if they ever caught anybody with dangerous contraband. The reason is that they don't often catch people with contraband. A government that supports keeping the Cuban embargo in place would definitely try to show the entire world on the news if they ever caught anybody with a bomb, like they frequently do with even American citizens. Why are we spending money on the Cuban embargo when we could be protecting our nation from ourselves? Let's see. Okay. And as for, yes, we are allowing some medicines to get through the Cuban Democracy Act of 1992. The problem is, there is an incredibly powerful buffer. They have to get through a lot of paperwork and a lot of problems. In fact, only 4 companies in the US sell goods, medical supply-wise and medical equipment to Cuba, because too many companies think that it's not worth their time and money to help the sick and poor of Cuba. Let's see. Because the U.S. refuses to give substrates and other medical supplies to Cuba, they're able to produce only 119 out of the 464 worldwide drugs that are considered to be necessary for a person's survival in this day and age.